A fierce debate is underway on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers have just a few days to come up with a spending plan to avoid a government shutdown. One bill already on the table would defund the president's health care overhaul. Congressman Michael McCaul is here to discuss this, and he's also the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee. And we're going to ask him about that hostage siege in Nairobi, Kenya. But let's start with what's happening in Washington right now.
Right.
Your feelings on Obamacare. Should it be defunded right now?
Well, you know, it's interesting. You would think it's the first time we voted to defund Obamacare. The fact is, in the House, we voted over 40 times to either defund or repeal Obamacare. I'm glad that finally someone is awake, if you will, in the Senate, paying attention to this debate. And I think it's a healthy one to have. I think the American people deserve this debate. And, you know, whether will the president sign a law that defunds his crowning achievement? Not very likely. But I think what's going to happen is we'll get the resolution back in the House that strips the Obamacare provisions. And then I think what you're going to see is we're going to push a delay in implementation of the bill, which the president already did for businesses. Employer mandate was delayed by 1 year, so why not average individual Americans for 1 year? And if you delay implementation, you basically shut it down. Defunding or shutting the government down will not stop it. Entitlements will still go forward. So I think this is going to be a good strategy, and it's a good debate to have.
So the American people will eventually have the final say-so.
Well, you know, you'd like to think so. And I think the one thing is the Senate Democrats who vote to strip the Obamacare language will be held accountable in the next election cycle. And that's what the American people are all about. And I think that's the only way, if we get the Senate back in the White House, can we finally repeal this bill.
Okay, let's go thousands of miles away to Nairobi, Kenya, where last Saturday you had, no one knows the exact number, but more than 15 militants went into a mall, started shooting and throwing grenades. Al-Shabaab, Al-Qaeda linked. In a conversation I've had with you previously, you've spoken about Al-Shabaab and what it's been doing here in the U.S. Tell us about that now.
Well, listen, most people did not know who Al-Shabaab was until this shopping mall incident in Nairobi. And the fact is, as you've mentioned, they've been on our radar screen for about a couple of years. I think the thing that disturbs me, two things. One is the target itself is a Western target. A shopping mall is something we have all throughout the United States. And it's a soft target vulnerable to these style attacks. The second thing that concerns me is that we know 50 Americans have left the United States to join Al-Shabaab, which is an Al-Qaeda faction. They've joined Al-Qaeda itself. And so these 50 Americans that are fighting and trained in warfare, the idea that they could possibly come back into the United States, I think from a Homeland Security standpoint, is our greatest concern. Now, having said that, I think we have a high degree of confidence who they are. We have them on the terrorist watch list. So if they do try to come back in the United States, I do believe that they will be flagged and apprehended.
So are we just talking about 50? Or are we talking about a continuation of training and indoctrination so these folks can come back into their home country, so to speak, and be a lone wolf?
Well, this is a growing movement. And there's a debate within Al-Shabaab whether to hit Western targets and the United States. So, and it's not just Al-Shabaab, Jose. I mean, you're looking at throughout the northern Africa, whether it's Yemen, whether it's Egypt, whether it's Libya, now in Syria, of course, we're seeing could be the next shoe to drop where a vacuum is created and these more radical Islamic forces take over. It's a growing movement worldwide, but particularly in that region. And as that threat grows over there, so does the threat to the homeland.
And that's where you come into the picture.
That's right.
Thank you so very much, Congressman Michael McCaul, for joining us here and letting us know what is taking place, not just in Washington, but also overseas.
Thanks, Jose. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.